Hi, I'm Greg Hunter. This is the weekly news wrap up for Friday, the 26th of August, 2016, the WNW 252. The story that doesn't quit, the email Clinton Foundation, Hillary Clinton charity story. And I want you not to look at this as three separate stories. I want you to look at this as pieces of one story. I've long said that the servers that she had, multiple, I said plural, servers that she had were only used to cover up the fact that she was doing, hinky, I think treasonous, illegal stuff with the Clinton Foundation. We find out that her top aide, Huma Abedin, not only worked for her, the Clinton Foundation, also worked for another company all at one time for several months. It just, all the information about this just keeps coming out. Another 15,000 emails uncovered. Julian Assange of WikiLeaks is saying there's going to be even more dumped out on them. I mean, it doesn't stop because it's a huge story that is unfolding in front of your eyes, and there's no way Hillary Clinton can stop this. Even the Associated Press FOIA'd Mrs. Clinton's schedule and found out that half of the individuals that got meetings with her ended up being, giving donations to the Clinton Foundation, some thousands, some tens of thousands, 100,000, a million, millions. More than half gave, the individuals gave to meet with Mrs. Clinton, 150 million, according to the AP. Now, the Clinton Foundation asked for a clarification, retraction from the AP. They wouldn't do it. They said it was unfair that the AP cherry-picked the information, but, the AP, Associated Press, hardly a right-wing, news organization. And then we find out more information. The FBI admits Clinton used software designed to prevent recovery and hide traces of deleted emails. What did Comey say about that? No intent. That's the reason why he didn't charge it. No intent. Really? No intent? Why would you use a sophisticated program like that to knock out the, emails about your daughter's wedding and yoga? That's what she said. Why would she do that? And then we have, backing up this pay to play. Donors got FaceTime with her, but they say there's no real smoking gun. And that, it's hard to make the pay-to-play case. I mean, these are sophisticated people. They don't write down in an email that, you gave me $1 million and then you could grant my son an ambassadorship. Thanks very much for doing that for me. That hardly ever happens. This is just a cartoon in the vernacular. I wanted to bring out the Clinton Foundation. You see the foundation cracking. But here is the bigger story. And it is the charity aspect of the foundation. And this is USA Today. And what are they asking for? They're saying, wind down Clinton Foundation. Why would they ask to wind down Clinton Foundation? Because it's a scam, a fraud. It's not a charity. It's pay to play. It's influencing, peddling, bribery. Oh, no. Because it can hurt Hillary Clinton's chances at the White House and help Donald Trump. And that's an important point. I want to bring up Charles Ortel. I had him on a little more than a month ago, and he's done a lot of extension work. He's a big Wall Street guy. I mean, he can dismantle and examine companies like General Electric, a $900 billion company, and tell you what's wrong with it, where the fraud is. And he's been looking into the Clinton Foundation for more than a year. And he says, listen, the Clinton Foundation, that's their Achilles heel. It's not a charity. It's not functioning as a charity. That it's not set up to function. You can't. The accounting isn't there. What they said they were collecting the money for isn't there, and there's no accounting, and therefore a charity fraud. Basically, he's saying that it's just not being run like a charity. Therefore, charity fraud. As a matter of fact, he'll be out on an early Sunday release, and the title for the site is Bill and Hillary, the Bonnie and Clyde of charity fraud. That's what he says flat out, and he can make a case for charity fraud. That is the Achilles heel of all of this, and all these people donating money, donating to this foundation. And yes, they have had 501c3 status. I looked it up. I looked it up for the original foundation, which is only for a presidential library. And then in 2010, October 6, 2010, they did get a 501c3 status for the Clinton Global Initiative. But is it set up correctly to actually be a charity? Charles Ortel says it's not, and it's a very, very weak point for the Clintons. It's hard to prove pay to play. It's not hard to prove charity fraud. You say you're collecting money for X, okay, then you collect money only for this, and let's see the accounting. Oh, you don't have any accounting? It's fraud. That's the simple story. You got to watch the interview with Charles Ortel as the early Sunday release. Now, naming all that, here we have, and I'm not going to go on and on and on about every single negative story about Trump, but this is a reprint, my local paper from the Washington Post. Look at the head. Trump's troubles, Trump Clinton's. Really? I mean, a big part of our nuclear energy, or I should say uranium, that ends up in the hands of the Russians after people donate to the Clinton Foundation. John Podesta, her campaign manager, the campaign chairman, ends up with a $35 million payday from Russia. But Trump's troubles, Trump Clinton's. By now, I pretty much made the case that the mainstream media is pretty biased. I mean, it's more than biased. But here is USA Today, and I've been looking for some op-ed, some piece in USA Today, and of course this is, let me just go ahead and not have any vanity here. This is Michael Wolff, and Michael Wolff writes this. This is not news, folks. It's an op-ed piece, okay? Clinton dodging media for now. Like the media is going to do their job, but they're not doing it in this election. He admits that here. And listen to this. I just want to show you how this is kind of an op-ed piece justifying how biased the reporting is. And this is in the USA Today section. This is this past week. And he says, and here, I want you to take this in. It's the first time in a presidential election. It's good to be a non-entity. She, Hillary Clinton, doesn't even have to make her own case. It isn't really a contest between him and her. It's between him and the media. On their own volition, just on their own volition, arguing against him, Donald Trump. What now Mr. Wolff would like you to think is that reporters come into a newsroom and just decide to put anything they want onto the content sections of the newspaper, that they decide what gets put on. They just do it of their own volition. In other words, the inmates, not in this case the reporters, are running the asylum. And what he's making out is the fact that what he's trying to get you to believe is that reporters on their own volition, they're doing this on their own, that they don't have any bosses, they don't have standards or legal, or they don't have editorial people over the top of them. I'll bet you this guy has editorial over the top of him to approve what he's doing. Every single thing that went on CNN that I did always had editorial oversight, sometimes legal oversight, sometimes standards and practices. We're using our CNN canon or ABC canon are we using a cannon to swat a fly? And to make sure it was ethical. And he wants to tell you in this article that Clinton, that these reporters are doing this of their own volition. It's basically a piece that is saying that, reporters are doing this on their own, and boy, that Trump deserves it. Listen to this. It seems that Clinton will walk into the White House having faced the least amount of criticism of any major party in modern history. Like, this is all Trump's form. It seems that Clinton, right here, will walk into the White House having faced the least amount of criticism of any major party nominee in modern history. And what he would like you to believe is that these reporters, again, this to me reads like, it's the reporters are doing this because they think it's their duty, and it's really Donald Trump's fault, and there's no oversight? Nah, no, folks. No, they know what they're doing. They know full well what the managers know. The inmates aren't running the asylum. The inmates don't run the reporters don't run the newsroom. The management does. Standards, legal, editorial. They know, they have a storyboard of who's working on what and what they're doing and what they're going to do. And then you have a script approval process. I'm sure there's a print approval process at the paper. No way reporters put on anything they want unless the newspaper wants it on there. Don't believe that for 1 minute. And this is why I'm telling you that this is institutionalized biased. This is biased on a grand scale, and I think it is fraud. These people hold themselves as a news organization. They are not functioning as a news organization, especially not when it comes to the political policies, and they are committing fraud on their readers and their shareholders. Everybody managing USA Today at the very, very top should be fired if they're allowing, and they are allowing this to happen. This is not a case, as Michael Wolff would like to tell you, it's the inmates run the asylum. It's the reporters doing this on their own volition. Oh no, they're getting approval from their bosses to do it. They're doing what their bosses want them to do. On the war front, I've got to bring a couple of things. First of all, in the South China Sea, just reported again, and this is all the things that are circling around the globe that could blow up. The South China Sea, China is reaffirming its right to build more islands. More island building in the South China Sea. That is just one of the latest things that they've come out with. Let's move over a little bit in the Persian Gulf. U.S. destroyer fired warning shots at harassing Iranian fast attack ship. That happened out, and there's video of this out in the Persian Gulf. Now, this is after we find out that the president basically lied about giving this $400 million in cash. Also lied and said, well, we couldn't wire transfer money. There were wire transfers for, $1.3 billion. It was 99.99 million dollars, and there were multiple transfers, I think more than a dozen, to get this $1.3 billion along with the $400 million in cash. Total lie. Said one thing, nope, not that at all. But what I want to tell you is that even after paying ransom, and that's what many say this is, that's what I say it is, for these American hostages over there, here they are, basically going around their ships, testing our ships. This is dangerous. This is going through the Strait of Hormuz, which is a narrow passageway on the east end of the Persian Gulf. Tons of oil goes through. I think about a fourth of the world's oil flows through there on ships. If that got shut down, price of oil would spike overnight. And it's very, very dangerous what's going on. Also, this is another thing. Turkey invades Syria as a race for northern Aleppo heats up. Now, this is what's worrying about this. Here you have a NATO country, Turkey, invading Syria, going after ISIS. And then here we have the U.S. policy, which we are giving Iran, almost $2 billion in cash and wire transferred money. And Turkey is fighting against the Iranian forces, the Shia forces. Turkey is bombing ISIS. I'm sorry, Turkey is with the Shia forces, but yet NATO is getting involved. A NATO country, Turkey, is basically going into Syria with tanks and planes and troops, and this just ratchets up the war scenario. On top of that, I said, with the destroyer is basically fired warning shots at this harassing ship. Wars can get started by accident. Just something I want you to be aware of. I'm not seeing a lot of video coverage of this. Some of it, finally, with the Iranian, the U.S. ship firing warning shots at the Iranian speedboats, but basically taunting the U.S. destroyer. That to me we're just inching closer to war. Nothing is ratcheting it down, although there's supposed to be some peace process that they're going to be starting in the Middle East. But every one of these peace processes ends in just nothing. They just go back to fighting, or they slow down a little bit on the fighting. It just doesn't look good in the Middle East. On the economic front, just a couple of things I want to just bring you up to speed on, and I can go on and on and on. I mean, there's a lot of metrics out there that show the economy is not good, and it does not really. The all-time highs or near all-time highs in the stock market is not a real reflection of the Main Street economy. This is the central bank economy. And just to let you know, too, Gregory Mannarino, I was talking to him, I talk to him every week, and he says, what they've done in this economy is basically turn it into an addict economy. A junkie economy. Those are his words exactly. What these central banks have done is turn the economy into a junkie economy where they don't care about tomorrow. They care about today's hit right now. They care about what's going on right now. Whatever happens tomorrow, if it all blows up, it's okay as long as I get my hit right now. That's where we are. That was Gregory Mannarino's description of that at traderschoice.net. But this is Deutsche Bank, which is deeply in trouble. Their stock price is back up to about $14, but woohoo! I mean, it's up $1 or something. It's just off of their all-time lows, or their all-time lows in the last year and a half. But Deutsche Bank CEO warns of fatal consequence for savers. And look at this. The DB top economist warns of social unrest and another Great Depression. This is Deutsche Bank, folks. This is one of the biggest banks in the world. This was also the bank that the central banks deemed, the most systemically risky bank in the world. They have, derivative book of $70+ trillion. The global economy is about, $68 trillion. One bank has more derivative exposure, leverage, than the entire GDP of the world. What could go wrong? Here's the other story I wanted to get out to. Another billionaire goes all in on barbarous relic, gold. It's gold while mainstream media remains silent. This is Crispin Odey. Price of gold against paper money will massively revalue upwards. Now, add this to, other people buying gold. George Soros, Jeffrey Gundlach, Bill Gross at Janus. I mean, these are all multi-billionaire money managers, all big people. And they're warning, but you would think that everything was fine when people who manage enormous amounts of money are sounding warning bells and telling people to buy gold. That to me is, and then tell you why that these money is going to be, gold is going to be revalued massively upward as we go on. One of the things I wanted to get into is a transgender case in Texas. A judge blocked this in Texas, this unisex bathroom thing. And I wanted to show you how dishonest USA Today was in this story. So here is this story. And here's the quote, okay? This case represents the difficult issue of balancing protection of students' rights and that of personal privacy when using school bathrooms. And notice this right here, folks. Notice this right here. School bathrooms, period, end quote. That's not the quote, folks. See, what they want you to think is that, it's just some transgender, wanting to use the bathroom. No, it is not. This is about unisex bathrooms. And here is where they got the quote from. And so, let me get it focused up there for you. There you go. Privacy, right here. Privacy when using school bathrooms, locker rooms, showers, and other intimate facilities while ensuring no student is unnecessarily marginalized while attending school. Are you getting that, folks? They left off while using bathrooms, and they put a period, but it goes on to say bathrooms, locker rooms, showers, and other intimate facilities while ensuring that no student is unnecessarily marginalized at school. Folks, this is unisexed everything. This is little boys showering with little girls, men going to bathroom with women. No, there is no men's and women's bathroom. I mean, if this was some push to have a third bathroom where men or women could use the bathroom and have some privacy, that'd be one thing, but that's not what the ultra left-wing liberals want. And here's the picture they put in with this. And what does that say once again? All gender rescue. Why don't they put this on the front page? This is what they're shooting for. All gender restrooms. Little boys showering with little girls. Teenage boys showering with teenage girls. Wow, what could go wrong there? Men in bars going to restrooms with women in bars. What could go wrong there? That's what they're shooting for, and they had that at the Democratic National Convention. Again, the all gender, the unisex bathroom. There is no separation between men and women, none whatsoever. And again, I think it's an assault on God's word right from the beginning in Genesis. They didn't have Adam and Steve. They had Adam and Eve. They didn't have Bob and Bob. They had Adam and Eve. There is a difference between men and women. And this judge goes on to say, and I think this is brilliant. This judge goes on to say, and let me just read this to you, because what they try to do is go after him on the Title IX aspect. And I just want to read, this is worth just hang with me here. And it said that it cannot be disputed that the plain meaning of the term sex in that law, Title IX, we're equal for men and women, boys and girls in school. So, the football team doesn't get something better. The girls' basketball team doesn't get something less than the boys' basketball team. It cannot be disputed that the meaning of the term sex in that law meant the biological, anatomical differences between male and female students as determined at their birth. That's what this federal judge said. It put the kibosh on this policy that the Obama administration wanted to do nationwide. Unisex everything all across all the schools, all across everything. And they put a kibosh on that. And folks, I'm glad they did. I don't know what the answer is, but unisex bathrooms for everybody, that ain't it. And ladies, if you think this is just about, giving a few transgenders, a bathroom, right? No, it's not. No, you and your children are going to be going to the bathroom with everybody else. There is going to be no sex bathrooms. It's going to be all sex bathrooms all the time. Showers, bathrooms, locker rooms. For some reason, that's what this ultra-lefty, wackadoodle liberal policymakers that are in the Obama administration, that's what they want. That is what they want, folks, without question, period, the end. But they don't want to tell you that's what they want. They want to kind of slip it in the back. That's what this HB 2 in North Carolina was. Charlotte wanted unisex bathrooms, unisex showers, unisex everything. And they want to just come out and say, well, no, they're going against the rights of transgender. What about my rights? I don't want to be going to the bathroom with a woman. I don't want to be in the bathroom with a little girl or a little boy, a little boy is men's bathroom, but a little girl or a mother with a couple of little girls. I don't want to be in there with them. That's the way I see it, folks. Appreciate your support and your donations. That helps us out. Just remember, fear not. Prepare yourself mentally, physically, and above all, spiritually. Fear not. God the Father is in charge.